focused on being scared, you literally just shut down.
Hey everybody, my name is Andrew Tran. Welcome to today's episode. And in this episode, I wanted to change it up a little bit. I wanted to introduce you to a buddy of mine. We've known each other for years. He's doing some incredible work right now, and you can kind of see his work on LinkedIn. But I don't want to say too much. I want him to introduce himself a little bit more. His name is AJ Kulatunga. AJ, tell us the world who you are, what you do.
Andy, thank you so much, man. Such a privilege connecting with you like this. So, hey everybody, my name's AJ. I'm a professional keynote speaker on business creativity, and my programs help organizations function through disruptive times. So as you can imagine, it's quite a busy period for me right now.
Yeah, man. What are you seeing right now? Like, I've heard so many things from living here in Vietnam, but what's some of the things you've kind of seen? How's it disrupted your daily life?
Man, that's a great question, man. Daily life. Okay, so the biggest thing that I'm seeing, man, out of clients, friends, family, everything, is a sense of fear. Like, everyone is freaking out over this thing. And look, it's important to understand the implications of it, but you cannot let this fear take over you, because you lose your ability to function and think rationally. Contrary to popular belief, you can multitask, but your mind can only handle one thing at a time. And if it's worried about being scared and focused on being scared, you literally just shut down. And so what I'm seeing is a lot of people just shutting down, man, because there's so much uncertainty out there. And look, I get it. I feel it. You know, there are some days when I would connect with people and they're just not there, you know, and I walk away. Like last week, I had 15 phone calls with some amazing people, you know. And I'll tell you what, man, got to be honest with you, I was feeling like crap afterwards. And it took me a while to just go back in and you know, go channel the good juju, if you will, and you know, just come up with some gold and continue to be out there and keeping those people on the ground and everyone around me sort of inspired, motivated, and focused, you know. And it's just been crazy. And look, man, I'm in the events industry, right? And events/management consulting. I dabble in both. And I tell you what, man, the stories coming out from other event managers, like, everything's shut down, right? But man, just the stories I'm hearing, it's like their clients are gone crazy. They're demanding refunds. The other speakers are demanding that they get paid up front, you know, for things that didn't go through. And I really feel sorry for those middle people, you know, like it's crazy, man. And I guess out of all the ugliness, right? Out of all the ugliness, we're all equalized in this, you know, and that in itself is very interesting. So how's it been for you, man? Like, over in Asia itself, like, what's been happening over there on the ground?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we don't have a toilet paper problem whatsoever. We've been using the little spray guns, which I'm still getting used to. I am not used to it. I'm going to be 100% honest. The last time I used it, you know, was in Japan, and that was more of an experience. And I didn't think I would actually be using it from a daily life perspective. But besides that, look, like, to be honest, like, I think it's hit home more this week than it has been in the last few weeks. Like, we have been practicing social distancing since January. So basically since Chinese New Year, or Tet, or Lunar New Year in this part of the world. You know, so you know, we caught, you know, wind of it, you know, towards the start of this new year in January. And the government has been taking a really proactive approach. So they've taken kids out, they've taken uni students out since January. So you can think about it, right? A lot of kids are running around with really nothing to do. And at the same time, so the next best thing, you know, as a working parent, what do? They take them to a park, or they take them to an amusement center, or they take them to a swimming pool, right? So you go, all right, well, they're the next places that are going to get shut down. So, you know, sure enough, those places got shut down. You're seeing literally yesterday, they put a government decree out saying that any establishments that can hold 30 or more people will be shut down for at least a week. So you're seeing coffee shops. And Vietnam, Saigon, there are a lot of coffee shops. Like, I can walk one block and there's like 3 coffee shops right there. So you can imagine those small businesses they're all shutting down right now. Like, you know, there's no working from home. That is their livelihood. That is their home. Most of them live upstairs. So for them, you see it. Like, I live in a very local area in District 4. And so in that sense, like, you're seeing a lot of these markets. Like, I ride down the street, and you're seeing those markets like kind of close down. You don't see as many people as you would normally coming through. Yeah, so it's kind of crazy at the moment. You know, I'm about to do a shopping run. Hopefully that's still open. So after this call, I'm gonna head down there, have a quick look. But from a business perspective, similar to you, man, you know, with regards to events, like I had 3 going. They've all pretty much been postponed or cancelled at the moment. No one knows when this is going to happen. But actually, the really cool thing I wanted to talk to you about was what have you kind of seen businesses do, and what are some of the gems that you've seen that you've seen businesses do in the midst of this kind of pandemic that's going on?
So there's been a spectrum of things, and you can narrow it down into 3 separate categories. So those micro businesses out there, they are panicking, right? And what's interesting about that is, well, and I'm probably going to get shot for saying this, right? But this is the first real test of many micro businesses out there, you know, and you have to argue, were they ever going to survive anything, whether it's COVID, whether it's regulation, whether it's competition, were these people going to survive anyway? Because they're what I call providers. They provided a skill or a product, and they exchange that for money, right, at the provider level. So those businesses, they're really struggling. They're freaked out. They don't know what to do, and they're in the fear zone, basically, because they never anticipated anything like this. They always thought that I'll just, you know, build it and they will come, and they achieve some success, and now that they're in jeopardy. The ones here in this section, they're really interesting. So they have been in business a while, and they are scared, but they're not letting their fear control them. So I'm seeing a lot of changing business models in this space. So for example, when things over in Australia, it's completely different to what you've experienced in Vietnam. We've only just really locked everyone down as of 24 hours ago, you know, and this crisis has been brewing for a few months, but as of 24 hours ago, Prime Minister's come in and issued some very, very weird and highly open to interpretation restrictions. So it's been interesting. So, you know, we've essentially had a week of panic and innovation, really, for small businesses. So, for example, a cafe, a client / friend of mine who's been in business six years or 5 years now, they have pivoted online. And so I worked with them last week trying to get all their online stuff happening, and they released promotions and marketing, and they started making sales online. And then as of 24 hours ago, they were ordered to shut down, not because of bad website design, but you know, they're closing restaurants and things like that. I'm also seeing some really interesting in the larger business space, where again, it's not really about shifting models per se, because they're too large to shift, right? But around resourcing. So for instance, Qantas, our national airline carrier, announced that they had to let go thousands of staff. But Woolworths, another massive retailer, have agreed to pick up that staff because their demand's gone up. So we're seeing this really interesting strategic partnerships develop in that space. I'm also seeing manufacturing companies, things like automotive manufacturers, you know, they're suddenly thinking, well, what else can we do to support this ecosystem? And so they're converting their tooling over to producing hand sanitizers. Same with all the breweries, man. Like, it's just really interesting. So you have these 3 different groups and 3 different categories that are operating under exactly the same conditions, but they're handling it in such different ways. And so, you know, it depends really where you want to look at. You know, do you want to focus on the doom and gloom stuff over here, or do you want to have a look at, well, how do you change your online business model? How do you change, you know, your strategic partnerships? How can you leverage it? Because remember, as I said before, we're all equalized now. So it's really interesting seeing how everything's happening. Is that the same that you've seen over there, Matt?
Yeah, look, like what I'm seeing a lot is I'm seeing it's almost like how the market's kind of rebalancing itself again, right? You're seeing that with businesses. So You know, we'll take the coffee shop, for instance, as an example. Like there's a lot of coffee shops here in Saigon. There's you know, at least 2 or 3 in every corner. Like there's a bit of an oversupply of coffee shops, in my opinion.
Interesting.
And what's going to happen is, I think when businesses start to fall, like you know, the banking system here in Vietnam is not as strong as Australia, for instance, right? You know, we're not going to get, like businesses aren't going to get leeway in terms of getting financing to alleviate the stress they have. They either got to keep running or they're going to shut, you know. So with that in mind, I think what you're going to see is, you're going to see a lot of you know, for sale leases coming up. You're going to see empty spots happening because you're going to see the market kind of recalibrate and shift back to what it was before this kind of big rush and boom of all these retailers, all these shops, all these, you know, particular suppliers coming in and kind of really saturating the market. So I think you're going to see that flow and effect across all different sectors at the moment. Actually, one thing that I've seen a lot, and I've mentioned it in my blog, and I've mentioned it in my last kind of podcast I was speaking to another buddy of mine, is the education industry, right? That industry has gone up, and you're going to see like what's going to happen right now, like in terms of calibration, changing of different business models. You're seeing pure online players start to rise up, and you're seeing them kind of go, wow, hey, you want to continue learning, you want to continue having this education, we've got this platform that you can learn. We've got this platform that is established already. And what you're seeing now is, you're seeing you know, institutional universities starting to scramble and starting to get all their courses online. They have capabilities to do stuff online, like you can download lectures online and whatnot, but they never really tried to play the pure online game, which now all these pure onliners have come in, and you're seeing it right now. So I bet you 100%, if you start looking, you know, start searching on various, you know, online only courses or online only educational systems, you're going to see a lot of these like ads pop up in your feeds when you're going through YouTube or going through Facebook. All these display ads, because they're catching on to it now. Like they're seeing the demand that's happening at the moment, especially over the last few months. And people are bored. They're in their homes, they're working. I mean, they're going to go crazy. So what are they going to do? Find opportunities to, you know, educate, self-educate. And how can they do that in a quarantine kind of system? Well, they've got to have a particular marketplace to do that. So that's one of the kind of key things that I've kind of seen as well. And also, like with regards to like the changing of the business model, I think it's also maybe it's something that you've probably seen as well. Like I see now, like if I was an established business, I would be re-looking at my customer base straight away. Like, you know, almost forget about who your typical customer is, because now we're in this moment of time where there's a crisis happening in terms of pandemic. There's an economic crisis that's hitting. Like we're pretty much going to be in another GFC happening at the moment. We're seeing double-digit like figures in terms of percentage losses on the stock exchange happening.
Of course, it's been decimated, hasn't it?
Decimated, yeah. So people's like the hierarchy of needs is going to change, and so with that, I think as a business, and there's some of the things I've spoken about to various businesses, various kind of friends and colleagues, is how do we look at you know, redoing that customer, that persona first and foremost, understand their pains, their needs, their wants, and then from there, then let's start building out communication, you know, messages around that.
I want to ask you about messages, right?
Right.
So I can't remember. Are you active on Twitter these days, man?
No, not as much. Just because of the way situations happening. You know, it's probably easier for me to. Oh wait, hang on. Oh, it's easier for me to. Yeah, it's easier for me to kind of. My consumers are mostly in Facebook and in LinkedIn.
Yep. So I haven't been. I operate primarily on LinkedIn, and you know, it's different. And I'm also on Twitter, but I'm on Twitter more about conversations with smart people and using it to absorb some content. And I noticed there's this really interesting sentiment, let's call it, that's been happening over the last couple of days. and it's in relation to businesses communicating and marketing during times of crisis, right? So I've noticed that a lot of people are complaining that their inbox is full of brands giving exactly the same information, and it's getting annoying. This is we don't care what you're doing about the COVID crisis, whatever. So that's one side. The second side is, I'm seeing a lot of people going, hey, you shouldn't be marketing during times of crisis. And I look at that and I just think, hang on a second, right? Those big brands out there, right? It's not their fault that you subscribe to 100,000 newsletters, right? And as someone who doesn't, subscribe to a lot of newsletters or whatever, and I don't really participate in a lot of brand mess, I am very grateful for all my service providers to email me and let me know that their call centers are still functioning, that they are still open for business in case I have needs. Just that little reassurance, I find that really, really good. In terms of marketing, sure, if you're, a big brand and trying to flog off something stupid, I mean, I haven't seen anything stupid per se coming out from the big brands. The little people on the ground, look, man, at the end of the day, they got to put food on their table, right? And so I'm actively, promoting kindness so that people just remember that fact. Not everyone has the luxury of having a steady salary. And as a result, you still got to make money. You still got to make money. And look, maybe these people don't really know what they're actually doing, and they just, as I call it, they've gone to some BS marketing, blah, blah, biz seminar. and like they're just coming off with, really crazy ass copy during their emails and their messaging, which someone like you, I'm pretty sure, could solve instantly if they just knew about you, man. So, it's just that. So I guess, like, what are your thoughts on that sentiment? Like, should we be marketing ourselves during times of crisis, or should we be considerate and just, not do anything? What are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, look, that's actually a really good question. And the answer is yes, I think marketing still has relevancy in this current situation at the moment. The message and how we communicate is going to be slightly different. And like you said, like, you responded better when the messages were around the essential information that as a customer that you will need to deal or work with or have a relationship with that particular brand, i.e., hey, like, for instance, like, I think health insurance is a perfect example of how you should still have marketing push messages out. But the messages, instead of talking to them about, hey, get 10% off your latest pet insurance, it should be more around
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it should be, it should be more around the issues of, oh, hey, we've been hearing a lot about COVID-19. Yes, you've been hearing about it in the news. If you need access to, these are your options right now in terms of your health insurance. If you need to access it, this is what you need to do. By the way, we're here to help. You can contact us through here, through Facebook, through chat, through whatever. Like, it's those kind of quick messages and just reinforcing those messages out. Yeah. I think that's the proper way to kind of respond during this particular time of need.
Yeah. And I think, like, just that showing that sensitivity, it goes a long way. Man, I'm conscious that we've got a few minutes left. I'm good to keep rolling if you are, man. So it's up to you how you want to handle it. Do you want to? What else do you want to chat about? What else can we deliver to your audience? What would you like to know?
Well, just really quickly, like, I know, like I said, like, we've just got a bit of time conscience at the moment, but just really quickly at the end, like, what are 2 things that you want to give away or let people take away from, your message around this whole situation at the moment?
Okay, so first thing is swap your fear for focus. And I can't reiterate how important this is. I get that I understand that you're scared, and look, to be honest, I'm scared too, right? Except that I refuse to let that sense of fear dictate how I roll out through my life. Like, I've got people to look after. I've got things I need to do. And look, I'm still respecting all the rules and regulations around it. But at the end of the day, I refuse to let me be run by fear, if you will. So that's the first thing. Get control of your fear. Swap it for focus. I'm doing a new series on LinkedIn called Business as Unusual, practical motivation during uncertain times. So all of you can see these videos that I shoot, and it's practical motivation, because as an entrepreneur and an entrepreneurial thinker, I don't believe in, like positivity, everything's going to be okay, la-di-da-di-da, like I don't believe in that. We're all here as part of a business thinkers, and we think very differently. We need substance, instead of blind positivity. So it's practical motivation. So that's the first tip, swap your fear for focus. And run with it and navigate these crazy times. The second one is for all you business owners out there. When I was facing economic downturn, when I ran my consulting firm, and I was dealing with clients up in the Northern Territory of Australia in the city called Darwin, it's a very closed off market, population of 250,000. So as you can imagine, when things are crazy in the economy, people just go, nuts, right? And I refuse to subscribe to that. I really refuse to subscribe to that. And the guiding principle that I kept telling myself and telling my clients was that, listen, no matter what is going on in the economy or what is happening in the world, somewhere, somehow, someone is always making some money. Why can't that be you? And we spoke a little bit about it before, man. It's about shifting your mindset to move away from fear and embrace these digital tools. I mean, you are literally the digital communications expert, right? If anyone wants to know how to actually grow through or navigate these challenging times from a comms perspective, what messages, what marketing should you be doing, in terms of wording, sensitivity, you're the guy to go to, Andy. Like, seriously, man, this is perfect storm for you, So those are my two tips. Swap fear for focus, and remember that business is unusual, but it still needs to get done. And I really hope your listeners take that away and just realize, if they're watching this video, it means that you have impacted them somehow, and everything's all equalized, and they're in good company. And yeah, man, I hope that serves your listeners, man. Nicely said.
And if they need to find you, where should they find you on?
Best thing to do is find me on LinkedIn, AJ Kulatunga, AJ Kulatunga, or look at the links in this post, as I'm sure you'll put them up, and connect with me on LinkedIn. And just mention, if you do connect with me on LinkedIn, this is just a really little bugbear of mine. Give me explain why you're connecting, because I get like hundreds of wannabe connections, and I ignore most of them because there's no context behind them. So if you do want to connect with me, please do, or follow me, but give me a reason why you connected with me, and let me know that you're a mate of Andy's, and bang, you're in the circle instantly. So yeah.
Nice. Well, with that, thank you very much, AJ, and stay tuned for the next episode. We'll be talking. I'm hopefully going to talk to more people around it and get some tips, especially in this time of need. Cheers. See you, everyone.